is Lyra a Brian May song?
No, that's Freddie Mercury song.
All right, cut. Well, that completely undermines everything I was going to say. So, oh well, never mind. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another video. And today I am really chuffed to be joined again for the first time in a long time by my old mate, Richard McCook. Hello, Richard.
Hello, James. How are you keeping on this fine day?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well indeed. So, I proffered the invitation to Richard to do this video a few days ago, and he jumped at it. And the video is going to be doing a ranking of the side two, track one Queen album tracks. And what gave me the idea for this video, Richard, and it will become clear later which song I'm talking about. I've recently picked up a reissue of an old favorite Queen album, and I listened to it on vinyl for the first time in years, and I really, really enjoyed it. And when it got to the first track of side two, it was a song that I'd never particularly given much attention to before. In fact, when I was younger, I used to skip it. I used to skip this track. And it came on, I had headphones on, and it sounded so great. It was absolutely, I thought, wow, this track is really amazing. And that got me thinking, side two, track one, Queen have got a bit of a good track record. They were really good at sequencing albums, and I think they understood the importance of that relaunch, side two, track one. And I started going through my mind, yeah, in fact, there's quite a lot of quite significant Queen songs where it's the first song on side two, bit of a mixture of stuff. There's some stuff I'm not so keen on, but there's some absolute belters. So, just quickly before we start, how did you find this challenge? Did you enjoy thinking about it? And what was your
I did.
methodology?
Well, I had a choice. One, either to pick the songs and rank them as how much I like them,
Yeah,
or I could go down the route as which song actually suited being track one of side two.
yeah.
I picked the former order of how much I actually like the song. Couple of surprises surprised me as well. Some of these.
Righto. So, would you like to get started and
Oh,
do the first
I
one?
will.
And then
Okay,
it's up
this
to you.
might.
I can start if you want. I don't mind.
No, 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 no. I'm the guest. I'll start. Well, my
Okay.
number 13, and this is a how dare you moment.
Okay.
And I have gone for Who Wants to Live Forever
No.
from A Kind of Magic. And the reason being is I was never keen on the single. I don't mind it now, but I just think it's so self-indulgent. Now, yes, Queen always were indulgent, but they were very tongue-in-cheek.
Mm.
This is not. This is just boring. I just find it very, very tedious to listen to.
Mhm.
And they're almost saying that this is one of our best ever songs. It's brilliant, and I just no, it's not for me. So it's my number 13.
Did you used to like the version that they did on the live, the live at Wembley
Not
version?
really.
Because, okay, yeah.
Don't like the song.
Yeah, well, I don't have that one bottom, and but I'll talk more about it when I get to it. Okay. So interesting choice. I'll wait to talk about your choices when I get to them, rather than
Yeah, no,
sort of,
that's fine.
talking about them as you talk to them. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if we actually have any crossovers here. But for my number 13, I've been a little bit predictable with this one. This is not a how very dare you moment, but I'm going to put All God's Children in bottom place. And I must confess, before starting to go through these tracks, I actually struggled to remember what this song even was. Oh yeah, it's this one. And it's a song that it's not terrible. It's sort of all right. It's just a bit billowy and a bit, I don't know, a bit airy fairy somehow. And to this day, as big a Queen fan as I am, when I listen to this record, I sometimes feel thankful that they finished when they did. Obviously,
Hmm.
I'm not thankful that Freddie died, but I sometimes think if Queen had survived and had carried on and was still around to this day, a track like All God's People might have been the direction that they increasingly went in, this sort of caricature, just becoming more and more sort of bombastic, but without the rock or the fun, just a bit over the top and self-indulgent, and the sound of it is not great, is it? It's got that kind of early 90s sort of thin sound with the synthesizers. If it had been done in 75, maybe it would have been better, but it doesn't really do much for me.
Well, we'll come to that. And I wonder if you've been listening to the Kinks lately. And I'm glad you corrected yourself because you initially called it All God's Children.
Oh, sorry.
And then
People.
yeah, I kept saying to myself, whenever I come to that, don't say children, don't say children, don't say
Oh, that's
children.
interesting. Right. Okay. Okay. Fair
So
enough.
we will come to that. My number 12, and this might be predictable, but it is Machines Are Back to Humans. Now,
Okay.
I do actually quite like this song. I don't like the remix actually that was on the B-side of I Wanna Break Free.
Hmm.
But it's very Roger Taylory. It is actually quite industrial, but it's different. And I can't put it high as a song because it's not a great song. It's just this noise coming at you, which is actually quite good. But for
Mm.
me, it's no, it's number 12. They're much better songs for me.
Okay. So again, I can't discuss that one just yet.
That's okay.
Now
Mm-hmm.
then, this is the first major How Very Dare You moment. And
Mm-hmm.
I was going to actually be even more controversial by literally putting it in 13th place. Are we ready?
Yeah, I knew you would have that low.
Right. So the Prophet song, I've just never liked it.
Yeah.
Never liked it from the moment I first heard it. I first got this album on cassette in about 19, I don't know when it was, probably mid 80s, early 80s, something like that. And I just always found it really tiresome. I find it very ploddy, boring, very long. The a
Mhm.
cappella section in the middle just goes on far too long. I don't know how long it goes on for, about 2 minutes or something. It unintentionally steals Bohemian Rhapsody's thunder because when you get to Bohemian Rhapsody, when you get to the big, Galileo section, that is done so much better. It's done with a lot of joy and just over the top. This is the essence of the fun side of Queen. And the problem is you've already had this really dull, turgid, proggy Brian May song with a big, huge operatic section in the middle, which is nothing like as interesting. And I don't know, it's too long, it's too ploddy. I find it a bit sort of adolescent, teenage, geeky, just doesn't really do anything for me. So I'm afraid, low down, I have the Prophet song at number 12.
Well, I didn't know that you didn't like it, but now I know, now I know, now I know, now I
Mm,
know. No joke, I know it. That one sunk. Okay, I have an idea that would be quite low in your list.
okay.
I think this one's going to be quite high in your list actually, but it's my number 11, and it's Dead on Time from Jazz. It's a decent rock song. It really is. It's got a catchy enough chorus, but it's absolutely nothing special. But it's a decent song. I actually prefer this now more than I used to because I used to actually hate this song. But yeah, it's okay. But I must say, from 12 to 1, I like all the songs, so it's actually quite difficult to rank. But Dead on Time, it's all right.
Okay, so my number 11 is a song which I think you're going to put quite high-ish. I know because we've talked about the album before, and I know you have actually singled this song out as being better than it is generally considered to be.
Mhm.
And it came up during the Hot Space video that we did with our friend John Downing. I think was it Christmas before last now? And John, in that video, he said that he found so the song in question, of course, is Put Out the Fire, the Brian May rocker at the start of side two. And John, I think, expressed my view, which is it seems like a real letdown after side one, because side one is so adventurous and it strays into all these weird and wonderful sort of clubland territories. And the end of side one is got this great sort of new wavy song called Action This Day, which really does seem to modernize the Queen sound in a very interesting way. It's still rocky, but it's got that sort of new wavy kind of sound. It is a little bit meat and potatoes, these sort of rockers that he used to do. And to me, it's quite a spirited performance, I suppose, but it's a bit repetitive. Just seems to let the side down a little bit after side one. You're expecting side two to open with another really interesting song and put out the fire. Sort of really isn't one, really. So
No, that's much higher for me.
I thought it would be. Yeah.
I think it's a great little number, very, very hooky.
Okay.
And just while we're on Hot Space, I think if side two had have been side one on Hot Space, side one, side two, a lot more people would have liked it because I think a lot of people gave up after listening to side one because they couldn't accept it at all.
Yeah.
Right. Well, talking of Hot Space, this one I think is the precursor to Body Language. It's my number 10, and it is
Right.
Get Down, Make Love. Now, funny enough, this will have no synthesizers. There is a section at the end of this song that sounds as if it's a synthesizer or some sort of a sample or whatever. It's a very spacey sound, almost like a Space Invaders type sound. So for this to have no synthesizers, if he did that on the guitar, fair play to Brian May. But when I first heard this song, I hated it. I think everybody hated the song. But there is a good wee rocky part in it. But I think I like it because it's different. It's very, very, very quirky.
Mm.
But as I say, it is a precursor to Hot Space. But I
Mm.
initially thought this would be my number 13, but playing these all again, I really enjoyed it. So it's my number 10. Yeah,
That,
brilliant.
that Space Invaders sound, I know exactly which sound you're talking about. It really doesn't sound like a guitar at all, does it? God
No,
knows
no,
how they made it.
no,
No. I know the section in the middle, a lot of that was done with guitars and vocals, but that sound at the end, yeah, very strange, extremely inventive. So, yeah. Okay, interesting, Richard. That's all I'll say for that one.
no. Okay.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
Okay, right. So now number 10. Now this was a bit of a wild card in the pack song, this one, because in many ways I do really like it. And in fact, looking at my list here now, I will say from 10 up to 1, I'm happy to say I like all these songs. Okay. This one actually could have come a little bit higher because it's a song that I'm quite nostalgic about. And this whole album, for that reason, it really reminds me of the summer of 1989, it would have been. And it's just got some great, great memories of driving, just after I passed my driving test, driving around with this album blaring. And it's a great driving song. This is Breakthrough. What I like about it, I like the really breathless quality of the riff, a really great sort of propulsive driving beat to it. Was it a Roger Taylor song?
It was,
I
yes.
think it
Well,
was.
under Queen, but it is Roger Taylor's album.
Yeah, this was the period where they'd stopped having the individual credits. I think it's very catchy. I think the bass part is really, really, really catchy, a real earworm. And I just think it's a fun track. It's got an incredible vocal performance by Freddie all the way through this record. You know, given how ill he was, I just think he just turns in an extraordinary performance. And the opening part, you know, the big "When Love Breaks Up," just absolutely, it's just like vintage Queen. It just lifts the spirits. The reason I've got it a bit low down, and it could have come high up, is that I think it's a little bit bland as well. A little bit, it's got that bland 80s production. It's just a bit kind of like daytime radio. I don't know. It just lacks a bit of bite somehow. I think it's down to the production maybe more than the actual song. Um, but I must admit this one could have come higher. But in the end, it's come to rest at number 10. So I've made it top 10.
Yeah.
So that's my concession to it. But I'm quite fond of it.
I think that the single version of that is slightly remixed. I've always, maybe it's my turntable, but I've always felt that the LP version was taken at a slightly slower pace.
Oh.
Maybe it's not the case, but
Mm.
yeah, the video of that is very good as well because it's on a train, and as I say, the train is chugging along. The
Yeah.
whole it's very, very good.
Yeah.
Well, we've had 8 songs, and not one of us have matched yet. So we've
Yeah.
had 8 songs. This is the first time I'm going to show one that you showed. That's
Okay.
Prophet Song. Yeah, it is my favorite Queen album, I think. And it's probably my least favorite song off this album. It goes on forever. And although the little a cappella bit, I do like it. It's just too long, but I especially like the la 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 bit where they sing in
Mm.
unison, which breaks that up a little bit. But it's a bog standard proggy Brian May rock song. Tried to be dressed up with a little bit of a cappella in the middle. So
Mm.
it's okay, but it's my number 9.
The one thing I forgot to mention when I talked about it, I really like maybe the final minute of the song when
Hmm.
it goes down into, there's a guitar riff that kind of goes da 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 da, and then there's this huge power chord, and then there's this really beautiful acoustic guitar from Brian May, which gradually segues into the opening of Love of My Life. Yeah, that section I think is absolutely wonderful, brilliant.
I actually think that section belongs more to Love of My Life than it does the Prophet Song.
Now is another how very dare you moment. But given that we're in the top 10 now, I figured that you would forgive me. I'm putting it at number 9, but it's probably much lower than you've got it. I'm going to go with Somebody to
Right.
Love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I've got a couple of major provisos with this, and you might raise your eyebrow at this, but this is going to sound really strange, okay? I prefer the George Michael live version.
Stop the video right now. Stop this
But
right now.
the roots of that lie in the fact that I actually prefer all the live versions that Queen ever did as well to the studio version. So I'm not saying that the George Michael version is the definitive version, but I'm saying that for me, this song, Somebody to Love, has always worked better live for me. I just think they over egg the pudding with all the background vocal harmonies. When you listen to a live version of it, of course, they're not there. So you get a much more kind of stripped down version of the song. I think if they'd have left out all that call and response all the way through and just brought the harmonies in for, the after it goes into the drums and it's the find me somebody to love, that builds into an amazing crescendo of backing vocals. But the problem is that all the way through the song, all the way through the verses, you've got Freddie and this sort of counterpoint harmony thing constantly
Yeah.
coming at him all the time. And it just, after a while, it just sort of fatigues my ear a little bit. I also think this song is a little bit on the slow side. When the piano comes in at the beginning, if you compare it to any of the live versions are always taken at a more sprightly pace, and it just seems to drag a little bit. So it's not really the problem I have with the song as such. The song is clearly wonderful, one of Freddie's greatest ever songs, but just as a record, as a performance, the way they arrange it, I find it a bit prissy. I find it a little bit, it's too Gilbert O'Sullivan. It's too show tuney for me. I'm not a fan of musical theatre. I don't like show tunes. And I just think with this one, they just over egg the pudding a little bit with the arrangement. That's my take on it. So that's why I've got it a bit low down, really, in terms of obviously it's a great song. So
Okay, well, I'll accept your take, but I don't agree with you.
yeah.
I don't.
Do you not like
Um,
the George Michael version? I thought he did
oh, I
absolutely
don't. I
uh,
really no.
interesting.
I'm not keen on the live versions either. I heard one from the Milton Keynes Bowl, and I just thought it was lacking. My number eight, and I think this one came last for you, and this is the biggest surprise of the lot because I don't really like this album, but I now love All God's People. And contrary to what you said, I think this comes full circle for Queen because really what's happened here is they're going really back to 1974. And I don't hear the production, the 90s production in this song itself. I do on These Are the Days of Our Lives and a few of the others. But whenever I was playing these songs over the past 2 days, this one jumped up at me. And it's like a new song to me because I never liked it, but I really do love it now. So All God's People, and this is the original album I bought back in 1991 when it was released, a single disc, and a lot of these are shortened versions
Mm.
compared to the CD. So All God's People is my number eight.
Was that the big surprise that you mentioned that you had?
That's the biggest surprise that was for
Right.
me.
Well, I did not see that coming. That was one of the songs I really did not think that would happen. Okay, moving up to number eight, and this is a Queen classic. And again, some people are going to really raise their eyebrows that there are certain songs that are high up my list, higher up my list than this one. But I'm going to go with Liar. I'm not going to knock it. I think it's a bit long.
Yeah.
And I mean, the best thing about it, I think, is John Deacon's bass solo, which is just one of the great moments ever in Queen. But I can't really slag it off. I mean, all these songs now I really like. It sounds great. I mean, the guitars have got a really great sound, which is true of the whole album, really. But I don't know, as a song, it's not one that I've ever particularly loved or thought of a bit, as being a favorite. So I've sort of slotted it in really in the lower reaches of the top 10. So yeah, Liar by Freddie Mercury.
Well, my number seven, you've already mentioned. Well, I think now we have to cross over and it's Breakthrough. And quite simply, it's my favorite song off this album.
Yeah, me too, I think.
And it races along nicely. It was the second single actually behind I Want It All, which is not very good at all. And as I said, it is the Roger Taylor number, and I've made this claim before. The 1980s for Queen belonged to Roger Taylor. The
Yeah.
1970s belonged to Freddie Mercury. So Breakthrough is my number seven.
Yeah, I kind of wish I'd made it a bit higher now, but it's top 10. So, okay, now number seven is a song you've had already, and this one briefly came really high up in the list, actually, and it is Who Wants to Live Forever. And it's
Mhm.
interesting because what you said about it is exactly what a friend of mine said about it when I texted him last night, my friend Paul. I messaged him and explained what I was doing. I shared the Spotify playlist with him of all the 13 tracks, and I said, "This song, He Wants to Be Forever, it's sort of taken me by surprise, really. It's never been a song that I particularly loved back in the day, but I've really enjoyed it this time. I've really enjoyed the orchestration." And I think it's a really good. I like the way it splits between Brian and Freddie, the vocals. I love the way
Mhm.
Freddie comes in. He just sounds so magisterial and such sort of emotion in his voice. But what Paul said to me, he texted back and said, "Yeah, but it's really lacking the Queen magic in the sense of it seems to be taking itself too seriously," which is exactly what you said about it. And I listened to it again, and I thought, yeah, actually, he's got a point. It's got that kind of portentousness to it. Just the orchestrations, it sounds too much like they're trying to make a really serious, somber statement. But having said that, Queen, after Freddie died, I think it's a song that did achieve a certain sort of posthumous, sense of pathos to it. And it did surprise me. I thought originally it was going to come much lower in the list, but it's ended up at number 7. But I'm quite pleased that I resisted my initial temptation, which was to put it, really high because I think it is a little bit overblown, and I think it does lack a bit of the kind of sparkly Queen magic. But I still like it. It's been one of the surprises for me whilst doing this list.
Well, my number six, and I think this is going to be very high with you. It's Rocket Prime Jive, the Roger Taylor track from the game. And this, my favorite track off the game is actually Play the Game, but the next two are the two Roger Taylor tracks.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know what happened to Roger Taylor on the 31st of December 1970.
Yeah.
Whatever did, oh, fair play because his songwriting really, really improved. Like if you look at the previous two songs were more of that jazz and Funnet from the jazz album, which are absolutely shocking, really bad, especially more of that jazz. The two tracks off this one are great. Now, I do like the start of Rocket with Freddie singing, although I don't think it's overly necessary. The main crux of the song is what I really do like, and it would have sat perfectly on Roger Taylor's Fun in Space. So it would have been one of the highlights. But overall, really, really good song.
Mm.
Really modern sounding song for 1980, but still a really good rock song. So it gets my number six.
Okay, good, good. Right, so number 6. So again, a song which you've already had, and again, this one took me a little bit by surprise. This is Dead on Time. When I went into this, I thought, yeah, this is going to be down the bottom. It's going to be right down the bottom with Put Out the Fire and the Prophet Song. But actually, I think it's one of the most sort of hungry sounding songs on this album. It's really fast, it's really aggressive. I mean, it's got that slightly thin sound to it, which all the songs on this album have. Slightly sort of, I don't know, there's a thin sound, isn't there?
Uh,
It's a bit sort of tinny and it doesn't sound marvelous, but I just think it's a really good performance and it's got some great playing. I think Brian May himself was quite partial to this song. In fact, he wanted this to be his single from the record rather than Fat Bottom Girls, I think. I don't know whether it would have done any better. I'm not sure if it's great single material, but I don't know. It did take me by surprise a bit because it sounds really sort of lean and mean and hungry sounding.
it's a decent enough song, as I say. I'm from 12 upwards. I do like. Well, my number five, and you've had it, of course, and it's the brilliant Put Out Fire. It's my favorite Queen album of the 1980s. I fully admit that. Yeah, I just think it's really, really hooky. I think it's like a precursor to Hammer to Fall. I think John said it's like Hammer to Fall's little brother, and I don't think so. I think it's better than Hammer to Fall. And yeah, I don't understand why a lot of Queen fans don't even like that.
Hmm.
And it's a classic Brian May song. So it's my number five. Love it. Put Out the Fire.
Um, right. So this is the track that I mentioned at the beginning. This is the first time in many years that I've actually put the record on, cranked it up, put headphones on. And this song, Machines, Back to Humans, it just blew my mind when I heard it. I just thought, what an amazing record. What an incredible slice of, as you say, industrial pop rock. I mean, what I really love about it is that it's by Roger Taylor and Brian May, who are the two sort of meat and potato members of the band in a way, aren't they? But for some reason on this track, they just went for it and just did this absolutely off the wall kind of technological, industrial, computerized thing. I think. it's flawed. I think the main flaw with it is that they don't go far enough. I think Freddie does an amazing vocal performance in it, but the lyrics are cheesy as hell. We're having nuts and microchips for tea. It's just like, oh dear. That's why I still think it's a really impressive, underrated track in their
Okay.
catalogue. So anyway, that's been the big surprise for me. I'm going to have it top five. I'm going to have it above Somebody to Love, which is outrageous, isn't it? Really, completely
Yes,
stupid. I mean, kind of just, you know.
but it is a very good track, right? I'm going to
Yeah,
say
yeah,
it's a very good track. It's
yeah.
not a very good song, though.
No, I know exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm
So,
wrong, really, but who cares?
okay, my number four. I have a feeling we might actually match on this one, and it's from Queen 2, and it's Ogre Battle. Freddie Mercury song, the first track on the black side rather than side two. Is this your number four as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have matched. I
Yeah.
just think it's great. I think it's proggy, but it's very, very rocky as well. A little bit like Breakthrough in the 70s. It's uh, really forcing on, really, really good track, really good chorus, and I think it must have been one of the first few they recorded for that album because if you notice any of those BBC sessions where they were singing songs from the first album,
Hmm.
this was the only one from the second album that they performed, so it may have been one of the first ones they actually recorded.
Mm.
But it's absolutely a fantastic track. And whenever I did a video with Beth, she picked that as one of her eight that are great over battle. So my number four.
I mean, what really amazes me about all those songs on side two of Queen 2 is that at the time, Freddie hadn't actually been writing songs for all that long.
No, I
He
know.
started writing songs quite a long time after Brian May, because Brian May had been in that band Smile and they'd already written a load of stuff. Brian had written a load of stuff. And Freddie started writing really round about the start of 1970, and he was still finding his way. And he was a pianist, and all those songs are heavy guitar songs. So he wasn't a guitarist. So I don't really know how he composed them, but it is very involved, isn't it? It's very proggy, very clever song. I love all the backward sounds
No.
in it, and really sort of fantastical lyrics. It's a bit sort of Tolkien-esque, isn't it? All the references to, did you reference a two-way mirror mountain? And it's
Yes.
got that kind of fantastical sort of ogres doing battle in this kind of Clash of the Titans kind of world.
But I think Brian May's guitar makes it as well. So maybe Freddie presented the basis of a song and then
Yeah,
said, "Guys, throw in what you can to this."
yeah,
Uh, some of the best Brian May guitar work is actually on that song for me,
yeah,
anyway.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they threw the kitchen sink at it, didn't they? I mean,
It
just
did,
just in
yeah.
terms of throwing stuff at it, I mean, it was absolutely huge. Yeah, so I mean, that's one of Queen's greatest moments, really. So it had to come high up. Okay, so I'm at number three, aren't I?
No, I am because you've just done number three.
Oh
We matched.
yes, yeah. Good point. Well,
So number three is Liar for me. Uh,
okay.
kind of disagree with everything you said about this. I just think it's absolutely brilliant. A fantastic Freddie Mercury track from the first album. It should never, ever have been edited for a single. It's too long and it has to be listened to as a whole. When I first got this album, the two songs that really stood out for me were Keep Yourself Alive, which I had known from the Live Killers, but when I heard this version, I preferred it, and Liar. But this here now is either my second or possibly favorite Queen album.
Hmm.
I agree with you. Side one was the one that really did um, become my favorite, although of recent times, songs like When the Night Comes Down, Modern Times Rock and Roll, and even Son and Daughter with its Led Zeppelin plot, I really do like. So, but anyway, Liar, you spoke about it, but I love it. And
Hmm.
fantastic. And I love the backing vocals, love everything about it. So that's my number three.
So the song that I think is the greatest, has the greatest opening moment of any side two song in the history of music must be In the Lap of the Gods, Part One from Sheer Heart Attack.
That's my number two. So we'll talk
Oh,
about it together.
okay, fair enough.
Really wanted to put this at number one. I really, really wanted to.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
Everyone talks about the Lap of the Gods revisited. I
yeah.
actually prefer the opening part, but this is your section. You carry on.
Well, the reason this song has slipped and is not going to be number one for me is a problem I've had with it for a long time, and I don't think Freddie. I don't think he developed it as a song. I think side two of this record, and I know you agree with me, it's a bit of a mess, really.
Yes.
As you say, it starts out with Lap of the Gods Part One, which seems to be setting the side up for some kind of huge concept or it seems to be the start of a big story, doesn't it? Almost like a kind of Hollywood. I mean, it's just extraordinary when it sort of comes in with those big Roger Taylor vocal screams, and it sounds incredible. But and then it goes into the vocal section, which is brilliant, where he has this weird sort of slurred effect on his voice, and it just conjures up all these images of, I don't know, just sort of titanic, godlike figures at the end of the world, absolutely amazing. Um, but then once it goes into the chorus, it just seems to run out of steam. It just goes into this, leave it in the lap of the gods,
Oh,
and it just
I love that bit.
I love it. I love it. I just wish that they'd found a way either of bringing that song to a proper conclusion or segueing a little bit better into the next thing, but it just sort of stumbles. It literally stumbles to a stop. It just goes dun, dun,
Yes.
when you hear it individually, you think, "Oh, what a shame!" It's a really amazing opening, and it just seems to me like it ran out of
The
steam.
backing vocals, I think, are amazing.
Yeah.
I love that Leave It in the Lap of the Gods. And on top of that, you've got Freddie singing. And you also have on top of that Roger Taylor's high pitched
Mm,
vocal, which I think is absolutely magnificent. Now, it's only about 3 minutes long, and they always say if you want to hear more from that song, it means it's a really, really good song.
true.
So I think they actually cut it off at the right time. And it segues perfectly into Stone Cold Crazy anyway.
Okay, so this is the big moment because when you see what number two is, you'll know what number one is, of course. But number two, I'm going to go with this just because it just puts actually number two and number one, what they both have for me, they both just put a huge grin on my face when I hear
I
them. Both of
just
them.
realized what your number was. I just realized what your number was. Right, okay.
Both of them. I mean, as a kid, this is a song that I always totally loved. It was, I mean, Roger Taylor, he was so good at evoking that kind of carefree, rock and roll, rebellious, sort of tearaway teenage kid who's sort of racing out of the door again. His mum's trying to rein him in, trying to get him to do his homework, and he's just racing off with the boys, having a great time, Rocket Prime Jive, heading down the local youth club in Truro and whatever, just having a great time. And I love the playing of it. I love the rhythm, the drums and the bass, they're so locked in. It's got a real, I mean, I have to air drum to whenever I hear it.
Yeah.
Um, and I love the synth at the end. I mean, it's the first album that they had with the synth. A slightly uneasy fit for Queen because they'd never really used synths before. So therefore, they were not terribly clever at using them, but there's just something really endearing the way it just comes in this big sort of blaring synthesizer, and you think it's gone as high as it's going to go, and then right at the end of the final round of chorus, it goes even higher again. It lifts again, and that big closing end section. There was a disagreement in the studio as to who was going to sing the song. It was going to be Freddie or Roger, so they reached a compromise. Freddie singing the opening bit, and then we're going to Roger singing the rest of it. Freddie's bit at the start, his vocal is one of the greatest vocal performances he ever did. Really started to embrace that sort of gay lifestyle. And he's starting to sound really uninhibited. He just sounds like he's really living the dream at this point, I think.
Now, number one.
So we know what it is, don't we? Yeah. My
Now,
number nine.
folks, put in the comments below who has got the best number one.
Yep.
It has to be Somebody to Love. And the reason is Somebody to Love is my third favorite Queen song of all time. I totally disagree with you with the backing vocals throughout the verses. I
Yep.
absolutely love it. I think it is the perfect opener to this album, as in first single, sorry,
Yep.
to this album. And it's absolutely stunning. Now, put it this way, Bohemian Rhapsody was sort of piano ballad, opera, rock song. This is just pure gospel, but it is so bombastic. And it's every bit as bombastic as Bohemian Rhapsody. And to me, the third best song behind Don't Stop Me Now and Bohemian Rhapsody. So Somebody to
Yep.
Love, my number one. Right,
Yep.
here we go.
I
I
totally accept it's a great song. I would never diss the song. So my number one then is Get Down, Make Love. I think this is a really underrated Queen track. I agree with you. It's not like a great piece of songwriting, but I've always thought it's a really bold, adventurous track on an album which is, I think it's often run down a little bit, this record, particularly by the older generation of Queen fans. The usual narrative that we hear is it's the first four albums are the great ones, then it all goes downhill and they turn into this more radio friendly thing. But Get Down, Make Love, actually, it's not a radio friendly tune
No.
at all. It's quite a subversive and quite a sort of dangerous song almost. And the whole section in the middle, that kind of weird nightmarish section, which I always think was maybe their attempt to do something like, Whole Lotta Love by Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
Just the middle section of that with all the screams and all the weird, strange voices, quite sort of hallucinogenic. It used to scare the shit out of me when I was a kid. I was like, bloody hell, really scary noises. I thought, why not? Let's have it at number one.
And on that bombshell,
Yeah, what number did you have it at?
I had it number 10, so
Oh,
it's not
well,
bad.
yeah, top 10. Great stuff. All right, Richard. Well, that was great fun. Thanks for joining me for that.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. So, yeah, let us know, viewers, what you think. Queen, side two, track one. I'm ready for the flak. Uh, Great stuff. So, yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.